here I have a couple of different pieces that are kind of some of my favorite ones. These flowers and this little ballerina are made out of corn husk. I just love the idea of making things out of corn husk. This is a spoon that, you know, was just bent, and it was painted by a man just at a market. He just used his little finger and his nail to paint this beautiful scene. Took him no more than 5 minutes. This was also made by some vendor at a market. This guy had a basket about this big filled with like just sticks that he had actually dyed with the different colors. And so he has a piece of just cardboard, as you can see in the back, and then he had wax on the whole cardboard, and he would just get a string of whatever color, cut it, and place it. There was no design on the wax for what he was gonna make. So he just does this out of his head, I guess. So there's no drawing or anything. He just cuts a stick of the color that he wants, and then he places on the wax, and that's all this is. They use natural dyes, so eventually they kind of fade. This was like all super bright colors, but now with time is fading away. This right here I think is very interesting. These are just little beads that people make. This type of art is called huichol, and it's just tiny little beads. And my husband went to the Smithsonian Museum and he found this Volkswagen Beetle that is covered with those tiny little beads made by the authentic people that make this type of huichol art. So to cover this Volkswagen, it took them more than 2 million glass seed beads. The beads weighed about 200 pounds, and it took two families about 9,000 hours to get the entire Volkswagen cover. So I think it's a beautiful piece of art from Mexico. And there's the final Volkswagen. Okay, so this is another set of things that I really, really like. These are just gourds. So these are like pumpkins that they dry and then they hand paint them. They're only made in certain areas of Mexico, and I just think that they're beautiful. So all of these are those. This is actually from a tree called framboyano. And so this is kind of like a vine that it just hangs from the tree. And so you let them dry, and there's seeds inside. So sometimes they use this kind of thing for like toys for kids, like a rattle. And this is just a snake that it was hand painted. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the altar that we build in the homes for Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. It's usually November 1st, November 2nd. And so if you can see, usually we put the pictures of our loved ones who have passed away. We also make paper flowers, or we decorate our altars with yellow flowers. There's some flowers that are considered to be the guides to the spirits towards their altar. So sometimes you see in the homes that the flowers go from the front door all the way to the altar so that the souls can find what we have put as offerings for them. So we usually have candles, of course, to light them. We put food that our loved ones used to love. For example, chocolate is like a treat. Also, they may put cigars and cigarettes and tequila or brandy or things that our loved one used to love. So as you can see, we also have the typical sugar skulls. And around Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, you find the sugar skulls with people's names, because eventually we're all gonna die, and so it's just a fun thing to do, to find a sugar skull with your name. One of the things that I put on my altar is usually coffee, because my grandmother loved coffee. So I had this little cup here just for that. These are just fake pieces of bread, but this is kind of typical for our altars. What else do we put? We have added this one, which is called like the Catrina. Many years ago, there was a belief that we believe in this lady of death, and the name was Catrina. That you should put, sometimes they put salt to, I forget the meaning, but there's different meanings for the salt and the sugar and the flowers. But this is typical around Dia de los Muertos. You find this kind of things, altars at your home. Okay, so las Adelitas were women that fought actually in the revolution in Mexico. And so I really like their character because it represents that women can be strong and fight next to men instead of just, you know, the idea of the woman is at the home having kids and cooking and cleaning the house. So this is one of my favorite characters from the Mexican culture.
Te llevo de la mano, corazón, y allí nos vamos.